The Irish didn't believe in heaven and hell. They believed in a world layered directly on top of this one, so close you could stumble into it by accident, and so dangerous that saying the wrong name out loud could get you stolen. The other world isn't up in the sky or down beneath your feet. It's sideways. It occupies the exact same space you're standing in right now, but it's vibrating at a frequency your senses weren't built to detect. You're walking through it every single day without knowing. Most of the time, the membrane between worlds stays thick and impenetrable. But there are places, specific, physical places, where it grows gossamer thin. The Sidhe mounds aren't metaphors for spiritual states or poetic imagery. They're literal doorways. Ancient burial mounds, hillforts, certain caves, and springs, places where the land remembers what it used to be. Step into one on the right night, and you're not in Ireland anymore. And then there's the time problem, which is where it gets truly unnerving. The other world doesn't run parallel to our world, it runs orthogonal to it. You could spend what feels like a single night feasting in Tir Ena Nog, return home, and find 300 years have passed. Everyone you knew is dust. Or the reverse, you live an entire lifetime there, decades of experience, only to step back through and discover your dinner's still warm on the table. Time isn't broken in the other world. It just doesn't answer to the same rules. Which means every crossing is a gamble you can't calculate. The Sidhe aren't cute. They're not Tinkerbell with an attitude problem. They're the Tuatha De Danann, the old gods of Ireland who ruled this land before humans ever showed up. When mortals finally claimed the surface world, the Tuatha didn't die. They didn't fade. They retreated. Went underground into the hollow hills, the Sidhe mounds, and they're still there. Still royal. Still powerful. Still deeply, dangerously interested in you. They take humans. Not randomly, they're specific about it. They want your beauty because it entertains them. Your music because theirs has gone stale over centuries. Your milk to nurse their own children because apparently even fairy royalty needs a wet nurse. And sometimes they take you just because they were bored and you happen to walk past at twilight looking interesting. That's it. You caught their eye. Here's the thing that'll ruin you. The Fae don't lie. They can't, actually. But they don't have to. Their truth is so precisely worded, so carefully constructed, that you'll bargain yourself into servitude while thinking you outsmarted them. They'll answer every question honestly and you'll still end up dancing in their halls for 100 years, which felt like a single night. They don't trick you. You trick yourself. They just wait. Here's what you need to understand about the other world. It operates on contract logic. Nothing there is free. Everything has terms. And they're counting on you not knowing them until it's too late. First rule, the big one, never eat their food. Never drink their wine. This isn't about politeness or dietary restrictions. Consumption is consent. The moment that food crosses your lips, you've accepted their hospitality, and hospitality in the Celtic world is binding. You're not just fed, you're claimed. The other world gets into your body, rewrites you from the inside, and returning to the human realm becomes almost impossible. You're theirs now. Second, iron is their kryptonite. Not because it's magical, but because it's anti-magical. Iron is the metal of the human world, the material of our technology and transformation. We smelt it, we bend it, we build with it. It doesn't exist in their realm. They can't touch it. Which is why you carried it, a nail in your pocket, a blade at your belt. It marked you as belonging to this side of the veil. And third, if they offer you a gift, know this, there's a price you haven't been told yet. The side don't give. They trade. And you'll pay what they ask when they decide to collect. Maybe in 7 years. Maybe in 7 generations. But they will collect. Tir Ene Nog is the jewel of the Otherworld, the land of the young, where age doesn't exist. Neither does sickness. Neither does death. Sounds perfect, right? Except here's the thing, nothing else exists either. No change. No growth. No stakes. You're frozen in an eternal golden moment, which means you're not really alive anymore. You're preserved. And the Celts knew that's not the same thing. The warrior Oisin learned this the hard way. A side woman named Niamh rode up on a white horse and invited him to her realm. He went. Fell in love. Lived in bliss for what felt like 3 beautiful years. When he finally came back to Ireland, he found churches where sacred groves used to stand. His friends were gone. His entire world had converted to Christianity. 300 years had passed in what felt like a weekend. Niamh had warned him, don't touch the ground. Stay on the horse. But Oisin saw an old man struggling with a stone and leaned down to help. His foot brushed the earth. And every single one of those 3 centuries crashed into his body at once. He aged in seconds, skin withering, bones cracking, hair turning white and falling out. He crumbled into dust before anyone could catch him. That's the price. The Otherworld gives you forever, but it takes your ability to come home. The Celts understood something we've mostly forgotten. Certain times and places are doorways. Not metaphorically. Actually. Twice a year, the veil between worlds goes gossamer thin. Samhain, when summer dies. Beltane, when it's reborn. But it's not just seasonal. Dawn and dusk, those in-between moments when the world isn't quite day or night. Dangerous. And that slippery space between waking and sleep, when you're not fully in either state. You're vulnerable then. Exposed. But here's what gets me. The Otherworld also has addresses. Ancient burial mounds, obviously. Crossroads where paths intersect and choices splinter. And lone hawthorn trees standing in the middle of otherwise cleared fields that no farmer, no matter how practical, will touch. You'll see them all over Ireland and Scotland, solitary and untouchable, because everyone knows. They just know. You can feel a thin place before you understand what you're feeling. The air gets heavier, or maybe lighter, it's hard to explain. Sounds go wrong, either muffled like you're underwater, or hyper-sharp, every leaf crisp and accusing. And then there's the watching. Not hostile, but not friendly either. Something aware of you in a way that makes your spine remember it's an antenna. You're not in danger, exactly. But you're noticed. And being noticed by the Otherworld means you're no longer quite where you thought you were. Here's the thing the Irish understood that we've spent centuries trying to rationalize away. The world is more than what you see. You've felt it. That moment when the light changes and suddenly the familiar street feels like it's being watched. That split second before you turn around when you absolutely know, something vast and old is paying attention. The Otherworld isn't a quaint folk tale your grandmother told to pass the time. It's a framework, a way of understanding that reality has layers, that consciousness might exist outside the narrow band we're trained to perceive. Modern physics talks about dimensions we can't access. The Celts just called it the side. And honestly, whether the side are literal beings or archetypes of our own psyche's unexplored territory doesn't actually matter. The experience is what's real. That feeling of standing on the edge of something immense. The certainty that you've just brushed against a presence that exists in a frequency you're not supposed to hear. That moment when the veil thins and you catch a glimpse of how strange existence actually is. That's not imagination. That's encounter. The myths survive because the feeling survives. Because some part of us still recognizes the truth they were built on. Next time you're alone at dusk and the air shifts, remember, the veil was never meant to keep them out. It was meant to remind you not to wander in. Follow Blackfire Atelier. I'll see you in the shadows.